Our next talk is Dr. Vijay Pratap Singh Tomar, but he can't present because of some unavoidable circumstances. So I'll be just presenting his talk on. He has just passed on his presentation. I'll just because we'll definitely miss. I'll just present, but we can't have his presentation. Like his presentation are basically the USP of many ICs. And I would like to just, as a part of introduction of Vijay Pratap Singh Tomar, we know he is the professor at RIO Sitapur. But apart from this, I know, to my knowledge, we have three mirrors of JB sir. One is Vijay Pratap Tomar, one is Amitabh sir at SN, and one I think Dr. Partha Pratim. Now he has again shifted to SN Chennai. These three people are basically the mirror image of JB sir. So to start with the talk, is my slide visible?
Not now, sir.
Okay, I'll just. Am I been made? Acha, okay, share screen. Okay. So is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible.
So coming to the talk of immunosuppressive agents in UVA. So every UVA specialist or any treating UVA treating doctor, they have a goal like have a round pupil, quiet eye, though it's showing hyperpin, but the end aim or goal treatment is to have a quiet eye with a round pupil without any synechia. We have many drugs in our armatorium like prednisolone, betamethasone, dexamethasone, oral steroid like omnacotyl, defzadlacort, then IV like solumedrol. But all these corticosteroid, they have complication, long-term side effects, many adverse effects like psychiatric issue, then skin and soft tissue issue, then patient may have neurological issue or cardiovascular problem. Sometimes they can have endocrinal problem like shooting of blood sugar level. Then in eye, we have issue like cataract, narrow angle glaucoma. In if you give to pediatric age group, it can cause growth retardation. So you have to just weigh the cost and benefit of this drug. So because of these adverse effects came into the picture, this immunosuppressive agent. But we have three big questions: when to use this, what to use, and how to use. So when to use, whenever you have life sight threatening inflammation which is unresponsive, which is not responding to appropriate steroid therapy, or patient experiencing steroid induced side effects or high steroid dependence, then you can go for these immunosuppressive agents. Indications are like absolute indication like Behçet's disease, sympathetic ophthalmia, VKH, necrotizing sclerouveitis. Then relative indications are intermediate uveitis, retinal vasculitis, severe chronic iridocyclitis, sarcoid-induced uveitis. What are the prerequisites? Prerequisites are like you have a steroid resistant or steroid dependence or steroid related side effect, you sub the patient to immunosuppressive. If the patient is having non-infectious etiology, you can prescribe them. If the patient doesn't have any systemic contraindication to immunosuppressive drug, and two most important, there should be availability and support of the internist if you're prescribing immunosuppressive agent, and you should take an informed consent explaining all the side effects of this drug and how all the pros and cons of these drugs. Then coming to the investigation, commonly investigation done as CBC, liver function test, renal function test, Montauk's test, chest X-ray, HRCT, urine analysis, blood sugar assessment, and BP estimation. So what all immunosuppressive you have in our armatorium? We can divide into four subheading. One is antimetabolite, then is alkylating agent, then is immunomodulators, then we have biologicals. In antimetabolites, we have azathioprine, methotrexate, then MMF, then alkylating agents, we have cyclophosphamide, chlorambucil. Immunomodulator, we have cyclosporin, tacrolimus, sirolimus. In biologic, we have daclizumab, infliximab, then we have etanercept, immunoglobulins. So coming to methotrexate, Common indication are chronic iridocyclitis, panuveitis, sarcoid-associated uveitis. We have to wait for 3 to 4 weeks to see the effect of methotrexate. The commonly used dose is 0.15 to 0.5 milligram per kg per body weight per week. Maximum we can give 50 milligram either in a single or divided dose. Now, since the absorption irregularities is seen after 20 milligram per week dose, so in that case you can give subcutaneously. There has been this interaction noted with salicylate, sulfonamide, tetracycline, chloramphenicol. So you have to take the history of using these drugs because it increases unbound fraction of methotrexate. Then coming to azathioprine, available in the market as Imuran in the strength of 50 milligram. Common indications are Behçet's disease, multifocal choroiditis, serpiginous choroiditis, recalcitrant pars planitis, sympathetic ophthalmia, and VKH. Again, the onset takes 3 to 4 weeks. Dose is generally oral 2 to 3 milligram per kg body weight per day. In this, patients should undergo CBC at every 2-week interval and liver function test at monthly interval. And you should take precaution while using allopurinol. You reduce the dose because of the interaction. Then coming to MFF, that is mycophenolate. It is similar to azathioprine, but it has lesser side effects, well tolerated by children. Common side effects are diarrhea and weight loss, and dose is up to 3 grams. Then the drug available is cyclophosphamide. It is a drug of choice in vaginous granulomatosis and polyarthritis nodosa associated with scleritis or vasculitis. It is the only immunosuppressive that induces immune tolerance to a particular antigen. Common side effects are myelosuppression, gonadal dysfunction, sterile hemorrhagic cystitis, and secondary malignancy like carcinoma, bladder, or AML. The dose which is commonly used either 1 to 2 milligram per kg body weight per day or 1 gram per meter square body surface area. It has to give in 1 hour in 1 liter of normal saline. And before you start this, you have to give 1 hour infusion of normal saline with 1 gram of methylprednisolone and 1 milligram of ondansetron. And additionally, after you have infused this drug, you have to give 1 liter of additional infusion of normal saline. So IV infusion offers rapid induction, transient neutropenia, and avoid prolonged blood exposure to acrolein. Coming to the next drug, chlorambucil. It has ocular neurobehçet's prescribed in ocular neurobehçet's disease, intractable idiopathic uveitis. Long-term dose can be used. It is low dose of 2 milligram per day. In short term, like pulse therapy, you can give high dose 2 milligram per day with 2 milligram increment per week. Coming to cyclosporin, usually used in combination with low dose steroid. Initial dose is 5 milligram per kg weight per day. Maintenance dose is 2 milligram per kg body weight per day. Side effects are nephrotoxicity, hypertension, hepatotoxicity. So in cyclosporin, how you monitor? You have to give in 2 divided dose, add oral steroid 0.5 milligram per kg body weight to reduce toxicity, and you check BP on every visit and serum creatinine at 15 days interval. It is said to be, it is very useful in chronic posterior uveitis, low dose of cyclosporin A. Coming to next, immunosuppressive agents, that is tacrolimus and sirolimus. These are macrolide antibiotic derived from fungus. They decreases response of helper T cells to antigenic stimulus by inhibiting translocation of transcription factor. Side effects of tacrolimus are nephrotoxic, neurotoxic, hyperglycemia, while that of sirolimus, it is peripheral edema, deranged lipid profile, hypertension. Tacrolimus is given in a dose of 0.1 to 0.15 milligram per kg body weight per day orally, and sirolimus is given 6 milligram loading dose followed by 2 milligram per day orally. Now, after going through this, the next big question, which one to choose? This is the biggest crux. So again, here the decision lies totally with the treating physician, and it should be based on familiarity with the drug with which you are comfortable. You have used it, you have confidence, you know the therapeutic action thoroughly, and you know the adverse effect and how you have to tackle it. And apart from all these things, you should have a treating physician at your known treating physician where you can immediately refer the patient if you find or see any adverse effect. Then what you have to do in recalcitrant cases? Only answer, never give up. So future therapy in uveitis, basically it is the biologic which you use. These agents are made through biological technique rather than through chemistry and directed against one particular cytokinin cell types or cell surface receptor, like alpha inhibitors, tissue necrosis factor, interferons, immunoglobulins. Now, TNF, they cause the induction of pro-inflammatory cytokinins like interleukin-1 or interleukin-6. They cause the enhancement of leukocyte migration and activation of neutrophil and eosinophil functional activity. They cause the expression of additional molecule by endothelial cells and leukocytes. Common this alpha TNF inhibitors are etanercept, infliximab, adalimumab. This etanercept got approval, FDA approval in 1999 for rheumatoid arthritis, polyarticular GI and ankylosing spondylitis, and psoriatic arthritis. It binds to both soluble and cell membrane associated alpha tissue necrosis factor and inhibits their binding to cell surface. Available as white preservative-free powder in 25 milligram vial. And before injection, mix it with 1 milliliter of sterile water to form a clear colorless solution. Dose is 25 milligram twice weekly or 50 milligram once weekly subcutaneously. It is given in recalcitrant pediatric uveitis. There has been conflicting report, but you can prescribe it. Never use it as a first-line biological therapy. Then is the infliximab. It neutralizes tissue necrosis factor alpha activity, binds to soluble and membranous form of alpha tissue necrosis factor. It decreases C-reactive protein, then interleukin-1 and interleukin-6. Prolonged half-life up to 9.5 days. It is given IV infusion with a dose of 3 to 10 milligram per kg body weight. First day, you give dosing is first dose, then second dose, second week, then second dose, 6th week, and similarly third dose. Now, indication of infliximab is Behçet's disease, uveitis and scleritis secondary to GI, ankylosing spondylitis, Crohn's disease, and vaginous and sarcoidosis. Then you have adalimumab. It is the first fully human monoclonal antibody drug approved by FDA. Subcutaneous injection of 20 to 40 milligram either once weekly or once every week. Indication is GI associated uveitis, refractive uveitis due to VKH or scleritis due to rheumatoid arthritis. Side effects is non-melanoma skin cancer, reactivation of TB, fungal and opportunistic infection. Then you have interferon. This synthesized by a variety of cell types with immunomodulator, antiviral, and anti-proliferative properties. Side effects are flu-like syndrome, nausea, diarrhea. Then you have interferon indications are Behçet's disease, intermediate uveitis, sympathetic ophthalmia, and idiopathic posterior uveitis. Immunoglobulins, they are unique among immunomodulator agents as only medication which treats autoimmune disease without suppressing immune system, indicated in autoimmune ocular inflammatory disease. Side effects are aseptic meningitis, thromboembolism, risk of transmission of blood-borne infection. Now, drug which acts against interleukin-1 is anakinra and atezolizumab. Then drug which acts CD424 receptor, they are daclizumab.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, but we have limited time for each speaker.
Yeah, this is basically
wind it up.
Yeah, this is the last talk. After this, we don't have, then we'll have a discussion.
Okay, no problem. Then you can take your time.
Thank you. Drug against the CD receptor is daclizumab and rituximab. Daclizumab is basically humanized monoclonal antibody against CD25 molecule, and rituximab is basically human chimeric monoclonal IgG antibody against CD20 antigen on B lymphocyte surface. Doses of daclizumab is 1 milligram per kg IV every 2 weeks, while rituximab is 1000 milligram for 2 doses separated by 2 weeks. Now, drug against CD receptor, one more, this thing, abatacept. This is an infusion protein comprised of extracellular domain of CTL4 linked to modified region of hemoglobin G1 antibody. Indication is refractive GI and psoriatic arthritis. Side effects are headache, upper respiratory tract infection, nasopharyngitis, and nausea. So knowing is not enough. We must apply, and willing is not enough. We must